Hello everyone, myself Paula Mokwana, Assistant Professor of EC Department at LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. Welcome to the session of Satellite Communication. In the previous session, we have finished unit number 4, that is a radio wave propagation. In today's session, we are going to start unit number 5, that is polarization. So, in today's session, we are going to study what is antenna polarization, what is cross polarization discrimination, what is ionospheric depolarization, rain depolarization, and the ice depolarization. First of all, what is polarization? The polarization of transmitting antenna is defined by the polarization of wave it transmits, right? Or technically, it is the orientation of wave. It can be either vertically, horizontally, elliptically, linearly, or circularly, right? So, the horizontal dipole will produce the horizontally polarized wave. We can say that two dipoles which are mounted close together symmetrically and at the right angle to each other will produce circularly polarized wave, which has a difference of phase is 90 degree, alright, and it has an equal amplitude. By continuing, the polarization of receiving antenna has to be aligned to that of the wave for the maximum power transfer. Now, the next topic is cross polarization discrimination. First of all, the propagation path between a satellite and the Earth station passes through the ionosphere and possibly through the layers of atmosphere. We can say that it has to pass through the non-uniform distribution of the ions or the atoms, or we can say the layers of ice crystal in the upper atmosphere and the rain. So all of which are capable of altering the polarization of the wave which was transmitted. So the orthogonal component may be generated from the transmitted polarization. So that effect is known as the depolarization. That means if I have transmitted the vertically polarized signal and if I am going to receive the horizontally polarized signal, that means these two components are known as the cross polar component. Alright, and this quantity is referred to as the depolarization. And what is the effect of it? This can cause an interference where the orthogonal polarization is used to provide the isolation between the signals, as in the case of frequency diffuse. Now, consider this diagram in which my transmitted electric signal, that is electromagnetic field of E1 vector, is going to be transmitted through the depolarizing medium. It will generate a two component. First one is copolar, second one is cross polar. Now, what is copolar and what is cross polar? If I have transmitted a vertically polarized signal and if I am going to receive the vertically polarized signal, then these two components are copolar component. Okay, as like E1 and E11. Alright, and if I have transmitted a vertically polarized signal and I am going to receive the horizontally polarized component, and these two components are known as the cross polar component, like E1 and the E12. Over here I have transmitted only a single signal, right? But what if I am going to transmit two signals? Over here, E1 and E2. First is the vertically polarized, and second one is the horizontally polarized signal, right? And if these two signals are going to be transmitted through the depolarized medium, then for E1, two components are there, E11 and E12, and for E2, there are also two components. First one is E22, this one, and E21. Now, which one is copolar and which one is cross-polar? For this E1, which is vertically polarized, so E11 is copolar and E12 is cross-polar, right? For E2, E22 is copolar and E21 is the cross-polar. Why? Because this cross-polar component is going to be interfered with the copolar component of E1 vector. Alright? So we need to isolate these two signals. Okay? So most widely used measurement is called the cross-polarized, or you can say cross-polarization discrimination, XPD. Okay? X stands for cross polarization discrimination. If we want to isolate these two components, we are going to use this formula. XPD is equals to 20 log base 10 E11 upon E12. Isolation of E11 and E12. Or I can say, if I want to discriminate the copolar and cross-polar component, this is the copolar component and this is the cross-polar component, E12. That's why XPD, right? And if we want to isolate these two components, so cross-polarization isolation is capital I is equals to 20 log E11 upon E21, right? E11 is the copolar component for vector E1 and E21 is the cross-polar component for vector E1, right? So two orthogonally polarized signal with the magnitude E1 and E2 are there which was transmitted. So this polarization isolation is defined by the ratio of received copolar power, that is E11, to the received cross-polar power, that is E21. This takes into account any additional depolarization which is introduced by a receiving system. Okay, so the received power is proportional to the square of electric field strength, and the polarization isolation is the ratio of received copolar to the received cross-polar. Okay. Now, what is ionospheric depolarization? The ionosphere is the upper region of the Earth's atmosphere in which the different ions are non-uniformly distributed and they are going to be ionized by the solar radiation. Okay. So when a linearly polarized wave that transverse the ionosphere, it sets in the motion of the free electrons. So what these free electrons will do? This electron will move in the Earth's magnetic field and therefore it experiences a force. So what is this force? This force is similar to the current carrying conductor experienced in the magnetic field of a motor. So direction of electron motion is not parallel to the electric field of the wave, and because of that electron will react back on the wave and it will cause the shift in the polarization, right? So it was the ionospheric depolarization which caused the shift in the polarization. Next is a ray depolarization. Now, we know that the ideal shape of the ray is spherical. Since it minimizes the energy required to hold that raindrop together. So the shape of this raindrop, which is quite close to the spherical, but if we are going to consider the large drop, which are modeled as the oblate spheroid, with some flattening underneath as a result of air resistance, right? So linearly polarized wave can resolve into two components wave. One vertically polarized and other is the horizontally polarized. So the vertical component of electric field, which lies parallel to the minor axis of the raindrop, and therefore it encounters a less water than the horizontal component. So it will cause the difference in the attenuation, and which cause the phase shift experienced by each of the electric field component, right? So this difference are termed as differential attenuation and differential phase shift, which cause the depolarization of the wave. Alright. Now, the last topic of unit number 5, that is the ice depolarization. What does it mean? We know that ideal shape of the raindrop is spherical. It minimizes the energy required to hold that raindrop together. But the depolarization in ice is a differential phase shift with a little differential attenuation present. So we can say that ice is a good dielectric, unlike water, which has also considerable loss. So it will cause the ice depolarization. Alright. So over here, unit number 5, that is polarization, is finished. I have taken the reference from this two. This is a reference book of satellite communication by Dennis Roddy. So in today's session, we have covered what is polarization, what are the types of polarization, and what is cross polarization discrimination, and what are the facts which cause the depolarization, like atmospheric, ionospheric, rain, and the ice, right? So, if you have any question related to the chapter number 5, you can ask me on my video email ID. Student number 5 over here is finished. Till then, thank you for your attention.